evening, everyone. We will continue to let folks in as they enter the waiting room. But welcome to our April Community Town Hall meeting. I am going to put the link for the sign-in form in the chat. That's that form link that you see right there. We ask that everybody completes our sign-in form for tonight. That includes staff, parents, guardians, and anyone who is here. If you are a parent or guardian, we use the sign-in form to select winners of items from our school store. So please make sure that you do complete that form before the end of the meeting. And let's go. All right. We're still good. We can all see the agenda. Excellent. So tonight, we are very fortunate to have our new CEO with us, Dr. Erin Van Gilder. We're going to go through a Q&A with her with questions that were submitted by members of our school community. We have some from students, some from parents and guardians, and some from staff. From there, we will offer some state testing reminders as we get closer to the start of our testing window. PSSA testing starts April 20th. And then we have Jaleesa Epps here to go over some information related to our title programs and parent and family engagement. And then I will be back to close things out. So, actually, before I even get to that, I'll give Dr. Van Gilder a very quick chance to introduce herself, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Thank you, Sarah. It is my pleasure to be here tonight to answer any and all of your questions. I'm very excited to be here as the CEO of Insight. I've met so many incredibly wonderful educators and staff members and families to date, and I look forward to continuing to listen, learn, and lead as we move towards the end of the school year and into the 26-27 school year. So thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to our time together.
All right. So our first question is, how did you become Insight PA's new CEO?
I love this question. So I think I would start with, I became a CEO by spending many, many years in education and learning as much as I could along the way. I started as a teacher and then became an instructional coach, a principal, and I worked in all different type of leadership roles, focused on curriculum, technology, and just really helping schools improve. I also continued my own education from getting my master's degree and then my doctorate. I really wanted to understand how I could better lead and support schools. Honestly, I've always cared deeply about helping students succeed, and I believe in making sure every student feels supported, challenged, and inspired to keep learning. So that's what's led me here today. I wanted to be in a position where I could help shape a school that empowers, nurtures, and engages students, and I'm very, very excited about the opportunity.
And just a little bit about the process for Insight PA. We did share this when we announced our new CEO, but we got feedback from many of our staff members along the process of finding our new CEO. And we had staff representation in the interview process to help our board make the decision to bring Dr. Erin here with us.
And it was such an incredible opportunity through the interview process. I got to meet with a variety of stakeholders that really asked some great questions about vision, mission, culture, redefining what the instructional piece would look like, sound like, and feel like. And I was grateful for the engagement and was really grateful for the amount of detail and specificity of what they were looking for in a CEO.
Our next question, can you tell us why you are interested in leading a cyber charter school?
Leading a cyber school is so exciting. It gives us the opportunity to truly meet students where they are and design instruction and learning to be flexible and personable. And you can personalize instruction in so many different ways in a cyber charter school, unlike opportunities you may have in a structured brick and mortar school. To me, throughout my career, I've seen how powerful it is when we align strong instruction. We put the right supports in place, and we use innovative methods and tools to really meet students where they are and help them grow. In a cyber model, that allows us to do it in a really intentional way. I also really truly believe in our mission, which is to empower and nurture and engage every student. And it's a really exciting time to work alongside a team that wants to continuously improve how our students lead, learn, and ultimately become, successful as they move forward outside of Insight.
Do you plan on making any changes to the school? And if so, what kind of changes?
So it's a very good question. And I think that sometimes the word change can be misconstrued as a negative thing, where there's change that can really present in a very positive way. So to answer that question, I think right now, in full transparency, we as a leadership team are working with teachers and staff to really look at what's going well and where we can continue to improve and get better. I want us to make sure that we are using a set of goals that makes the students and the school a better place and a better experience all around. So there may be changes in how we teach. There may be changes in providing more support, or changes in the way we engage with students and engage with each other. But at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that everybody has what they need to be successful and really feel supported. It's really important for me. I think this was a question from a student. So most importantly, as we continue to embark on making these necessary improvements to our instructional practices and our in our environment, I'm always open for feedback from the students as to what makes their environment successful for them, and if there's areas that we want to continue to improve on that would make their experience better. So always open to having that conversation with any student who would like to share their experience.
I think the students are excited. We did have one student who said, I do not have a question. I'm just so excited to meet you.
I would love to meet any student who is not only interested in who I am, but also really, really transparent as to what they're looking for and what they need.
So our next question is, how is Insight PA preparing to address potential budget cuts for the 26-27 school year?
Very important question. We are currently planning proactively for multiple budget scenarios that are tied to the upcoming state budget. Our approach is really grounded in two priorities: and protecting our core academic programming, maintaining the supports that our students rely on, because at the end of the day, that's our mantra, that's our vision, that's our expectation. We are reviewing expenditures, we are identifying potential efficiencies, and we are working to make fiscally responsible decisions that don't compromise student outcomes. So that is our focus right now. We are also, I think this is an important piece to note too, we are also engaging in ongoing advocacy at the state level. I've been working alongside CEOs across our cyber charter organization to continue to communicate the impact of funding decisions for our students and to ensure that all of our voices are heard, because that's incredibly important. So just want to continue to share that we will continue to communicate transparency as more information becomes available as we work into the budget season. We will also be having our, can't remember, Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, but our upcoming FinOps meeting will also be talking about our school budget and walking through that with our board. So I invite anybody to come to that to hear a little bit about what this looks like, sounds like, as we prepare for a successful 26-27 school year.
Yeah, and the FinOps committee meeting that Dr. Van Gilder just mentioned, that's our Finance and Operations Committee, which is composed of members of our Board of Trustees, and where they get reports from members of our staff. And that's actually where they do the bulk of the committee meetings, are where they do the bulk of working through new policies and procedures and things that ultimately then go to the Board of Trustees meetings for consideration for approval. So we are in that time of year where our leadership team and the board are working on next year's budget. So that is one of the things they will be discussing at that FinOps meeting. All of the board committee meetings are on the calendar on our website, and we also list them in our school newsletter. This month's school newsletter is going to be going out on Thursday of this week.
Thank you, Sarah, for providing that extended context.
Uh, Question 5. As a learning guide, oh, hold on, my screen is blocked. I see a lot of things in class that take up too much time. Do you have any ideas on how to help the teachers with this?
I want to thank the particular parent. I don't know the person's name, but I want to thank them for being honest and forthright with their question. And I really appreciate their perspective on that. Preparation and staying on track with work can make a huge difference in how smoothly a class runs and can also reduce repetition. That's something that we want to continue reinforcing with all of our students, and at the same time, we are working with our teachers to be very intentional about how class time and instruction is used. So that includes planning lessons that are very focused, minimizing unnecessary repetition, and making sure that the time spent with students is meaningful. We are continuing to look at different ways to streamline routines for our students and use data to better target instruction so teachers can focus on students that have those particular needs. So this is an ongoing area and of continuous improvement for us, and your feedback helps us get better. So our one goal is to make sure that all the minutes matter. So I really appreciate that question.
Do you have ideas on how to get parents more involved with the education of their students to take off some responsibility from the teachers?
Yes, and let me share some of those great ones. Honestly, one of the most important factors in student success is the partnership between home and school. That is so critically important. I also want to articulate, we don't expect our parents to replace our teachers, but it's the small, consistent actions at home that can make a significant difference with a student. So I kind of put together a couple like simple, high impact ways that we can help each other. One would be to build a habit of reading or listening in conversation. So reading with your child or having them listen to a book and talking about it. Such as like what surprised you, what was interesting, that builds comprehension and it builds critical thinking skills. So just having those conversations around a piece of literature or a document or a flyer, any of those pieces builds that habit and builds that conversation. I would think too, encourage curiosity. Ask lots of questions, explore ideas together, engage your kid in wondering. Those are things that help them think deeply about the world around them. If I would say a couple of foundational skills, if you practice foundational skills such as spending some time with just basic math facts for all of our kids to have automaticity with basic skills in math really helps students with harder level conceptual math concepts. So flashcards, quick games, all those things can build confidence and fluency and also builds a really tight connection with you and your child. Stay connected. I think that that's an important piece. Ask your child to share their grades with you or talk about their progress. At my dinner table, when my kids were younger, I used to ask them, what was your favorite part of the day today and why? What did you learn today that you would want to share with your mom or dad? Those types of conversations go a long way and it keeps you informed and it shows that like learning out, it really does matter. I think the last one, and this is just, something we learn along the way is to support that consistency and the routines of our students. So help your child come prepared, stay on track with assignments so they don't get bogged down, and help them manage their time as much as possible. That obviously is going to reduce stress for you, and it's obviously going to reduce stress on the teachers and the students. So all in all, those are some things, so very high level, but quick and effective ways that really, really allows teachers to do what they do best. And I love and appreciate the fact that we really want our parents to be true partners in the educational process.
And as we go through these questions and get into some of these more academic related questions, our chief academic officer, Mrs. Bernowski, she's also has access to all of these questions as well. So we're making sure that everyone who needs to see them is getting these really great questions.
I actually do. I appreciate that sentiment, and I actually spent some time with our chief academic officer yesterday, going through some of these and building her awareness of some of the questions that were raised. So, thank you for sharing that as well, Sarah.
I can promise you, she's just as excited as Dr. Van Gilder to keep working forward. So.
Absolutely.
Why is there so much downtime during the school day? Example, my grandson has 50 minutes of downtime through the school day.
So, I actually dug into this one a little bit more, and I think it's worth kind of picking apart into a couple of different pieces. First, I want to say that we intentionally build breaks into the school day, including time for lunch. And that's important to help students stay focused and support their overall well-being. And we want to educate the whole child and not just the academia aspect of a student as well. So we also don't want students to be in front of the screen all day, because research has supported that that's not a healthy piece as well. So the time that we do have the students in front of them, we want to make sure that it's intentional, but we also give time and credence to classwork and assignments that can be completed more independently. So, but that said, our goal is to always make sure that students are not only attending, but they are engaged in meaningful ways. And if it really truly feels like there's too much downtime after that, that is something we want to understand and improve on. So specifically with this particular example, I would encourage you to connect with your child's teacher so you can look closely at the time that is being spent and possibly make some adjustments and work that particular aspect out with the teacher. We want to make sure that the entire day is purposeful and supportive of student success, but it can look and should look in a virtual environment very different. So I hope that that helps a little bit. And as we continue to have specificity around that, like I said, I would really encourage you to reach out to your child's teacher and start that conversation, because there may be additional opportunities for that student to be either enriched or have different outlets at a particular moment. So thank you for that question.
Why don't students have PDF workbooks or PDF books to read for class?
So this is actually initially what sparked my conversation with the chief academic officer, because I wanted to understand the curriculum and how we were presenting our information. And so students do have access to materials like workbooks and texts, but sometimes they look differently than our traditional PDFs. And I think that that's a really important call out, especially my daughter. She's in 10th grade, and all of her stuff is associated with Schoology, just like our students are. And, there's a lot of resources within the curricular classes. And I think that that is the way our students are accessing the curriculum pieces. Additionally, I think in many classes, the content is embedded into interactive lessons that the teachers have worked really, really hard across the grade levels and across curriculum to put into slide decks to make them engaging, so students can engage and complete that work on time and in real time. So the materials could look a lot different than what our traditional PDF might look for. And like I said, just like my daughter, I always encourage you to go in or ask your child to check their Schoology folder and see where teachers are posting all of their resources, because it's content rich in a lot of these classes. And I would invite those particular students to ask their teachers where they can find access to workbook-like materials to engage in that conversation. But if you're looking for a more traditional format, like a PDF or a printable resource, I would always start with a teacher and reach out to the teacher to ask what specifics or specificities you're looking for.
Why aren't teachers giving students anchor charts to help them reference the material? This is a great way to get students with IEPs more independent.
Great suggestion, and I 100% agree. Anchor charts can be a really, really helpful tool for students, especially for building independence and supporting students with IEPs. we are continuing to work with our teachers to continue strengthening our instructional practices in addition to really understanding our new curriculum. So we want to continue to provide more visual supports. Myself am a very visual learner, and do really appreciate opportunities to really anchor my learning in anchor charts too. So those visual supports are necessary, and they're great reference tools that students can use during their learning time. At the same time, every student's needs can be, a little bit different. If you're looking for a specific support, like an anchor chart that's not represented in their Schoology class, once again, like I said before, don't hesitate to reach out to the teacher and say, my particular child would really benefit from this particular piece. Do you have any of those pieces available right now? Especially if they have a case manager for students with IEPs. That way we're making sure that you're heard and we're providing exactly what your child needs to be successful. Like always, I really appreciate bringing this forward because this continues to enrich our instructional practices, and it's feedback like this that really helps us improve as we move forward.
All right. So that's the end of the questions that were submitted ahead of time that we pulled for this evening's meeting. There were a few questions submitted by staff members that we are going to work on putting together and incorporating into future all staff meetings. So those will be coming up. And I just want to say, this Q&A session, this is not the end of your opportunity to ask questions. You heard Dr. Van Gilder say throughout her answers this evening that we welcome your feedback, your continued involvement and curiosity. So if you have questions, if you think of some later, we are always here and available, and you can reach us through Parent Square. Just search for our names and you'll find us. Next up tonight, we have Danielle Dharma with us. She is our curriculum and instruction coordinator and the head of our testing team. And she's going to share information about state testing, which is coming up.
Thank you, Sarah. So I have a couple of reminders, and then we also do have a full slide deck with lots and lots of details in case you still have questions after hearing the reminders. The first thing I wanted to do was just say how much I appreciate your patience and flexibility, because if you've been here for previous years, you know that we had a testing system called Testing Nirvana, and we are now using a new system called Test 360. So as we were waiting for that system to be prepared, it did cause a delay in getting our testing assignments out to families. So I appreciate your patience in waiting for those. And then also, so many of you have RSVP'd and shown that you're coming, or you've reached out to the testing team and asked for other accommodations, which is really helpful. And it has given us a chance to really go through those and kind of evaluate how we're doing and what we can do better next year, whether the timing was enough for families, whether we need to get those assignments out earlier and things like that. So I really appreciate your help with that and your patience and your communication. The next thing is really just about RSVPs. If you haven't sent your RSVP, it is very helpful for us in looking at our staffing needs and making sure that we have all of the correct supervision for your students during the testing time. So there is one RSVP that was sent for PSSAs. That RSVP was for the first day, but your student will be testing throughout that week. So just a reminder that PSSAs are not only one day. We would love if they were short and sweet, but they are not. They do test multiple subjects and do take multiple days. So if you would just make sure that you are available for that week of testing, that would be really helpful. The other one is for Keystone testings. For Keystone testings, you may have received multiple RSVPs, and that's because those are scheduled by subject area. So the three subjects I always remember: lab, so literature, algebra, and bio, are the three subject areas that are tested in Keystones. Your student may have one test, they may have two, they may have all three, or they may have none, depending on what courses they're in high school. So if you had multiple tests assigned for your student, then you received multiple RSVPs. So if you would make sure you RSVP to each of those days, that also helps us, again, with our numbers and staffing and making sure that we have the correct supervision and supports in place for your students. The last thing is just a couple of forms that are required when you come to testing. We will have copies of these as well, but site leads have been reaching out and asking for these to be filled out. Those links will be on the slide deck. There's an emergency form just so we make sure we know how to contact you. Not just in an emergency, but so we know how to contact you when your student's done testing and if we have any questions or if we need to make other arrangements, if you need to miss a day and make it up on another day and things like that. And then there's a transportation form, and that's for students who will be arriving or departing without their adult supervision or with another adult. So if an uncle or a cousin or someone is bringing them and dropping them off or picking them up, if you would just fill out that form so we make sure we release your student to only the people who should be picking them up. And the last thing on here is that link to the slides for more information. This slide deck has a whole lot of info about state testing for parents, and it does go through exactly how to RSVP. So if you heard me talking about RSVP and you're like, I don't know how to do that, the link, where do I find the link? All of that information is in here. It also has the email for the testing team. So if you have any questions after this, you are welcome to email us and we will follow up with you about those questions. And I can drop the link in chat as well too.
The link to these slides will also be in our newsletter that goes out on Thursday. So all of this information that is here will be made available to you. I'm going to stop my screen share and pass it over to Jaleesa Epps.
Thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. Let me share my screen. All right, Sarah, are we good with the share?
We are good.
Thank you. All right, hi, good evening. My name is Jaleesa Epps, and I am the Reporting and Compliance Specialist. Now, for those of you who attended our fall town hall, some of this information may seem a bit repetitive because in the first half of the presentation, I will be reviewing how we spent the grant funds this year. The fall meeting talked about what the plan was for the funding, but tonight I will let you know exactly how we spent each grant and what we will be using it for the remainder of the school year. So in this session, we will review the 25-26 school year as it relates to Title I, II, III, and IV. We will talk a little bit about the CSI school-wide plan, the parent and family engagement policy, the school compact, the plans for next year's title funding, and discuss the parent and family needs assessment. So Title I is a federal program that provides financial assistance to schools with a high percentage of economically disadvantaged students, like we have here at Insight. This assistance is used to provide additional academic support and learning opportunities for our students. The funding is intended to bridge the gap and help ensure that our students meet or exceed the state academic standards. So the goals of Title I is to increase academic achievement, provide direct instructional supports to our students, provide professional development for our teachers, and to promote parent and family engagement in different educational opportunities. Title I funds are allocated based on the number of students who are eligible for free or reduced lunch. And then if at least 40% of the school's population falls into an economic status that would make them eligible for free or reduced lunch, then that school will qualify for a school-wide title program. So Insight does meet that criteria. So we do operate a school-wide program, which allows us to service all of our students under Title I, regardless of what their economic status is. Title II is for preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers and principals. Title III is for language instruction for English learners. And Title IV is for student support and academic enrichment. For the current school year, we received about $2 million in Title I funding. We use those funds for a reading and math interventionist, for LEAP specialist, community engagement coordinators, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Set Aside, and for our parent and family engagement activities. For the 25-26 school year, we've received about $134,000 in Title II funds. We use those funds strictly for instructional coaching. And then we received about $21,000 for Title III. We use those funds for services and resources for English language learners and staff. And we received $165,000 in Title IV funding. We use those funds for a safe and healthy student learning by providing community health screenings and supplies, by providing CNA courses for students and training for counselors and nurses. We also use those funds to promote a well-rounded education, which really focused on pre-apprenticeship programs, for certification programs, business conferences for our students, online progress monitoring, career cards, and esports. And then we use the funds for effective use of technology by providing professional development to our staff within the dynamic of technology. We also received a comprehensive support and improvement grant, which is for schools facing the most significant challenges in academic achievement and student growth and in a few other areas. But we received about $212,000 from that grant, and we use those funds to address the educational needs of our students, to lay out strategies to improve the whole school and educational experience, to help our students meet the state academic standards and achieve academic improvement. And if you would like to review the CSI plan, you can find it directly on the school's website. So every Title I school, in collaboration with parents, must prepare a school-level parent and family engagement policy. The parent and family engagement policy describes how the school will involve our families in an organized, ongoing, and timely way in the planning, review, and improvement of Title I program at our school. We reviewed the policy back in our fall town hall meeting, and we always make sure that it's included in the newsletter and it's always on our website. So if you haven't read the policy already, please go back and read the policy in its entirety. There's a school level policy and there's also a district level policy. And during the school year, the Student Support Services team, they offered a few workshops and events geared towards parents and families. Some topics that were already discussed were things like attendance strategies and barriers, how to use Class and Parent Square, the understanding state assessments. And those are just a few examples of the parent and family workshops that were already offered. There's going to be more throughout the school year. But we always try to align the workshops with the ones chosen by our families inside of that family needs assessment. The family needs assessment is just a tool we use. It's like a survey to evaluate what our families need and what we can do and what we can offer to help them meet those needs. But we will talk a little bit more about the needs assessment in an upcoming slide. The school, parent, and family compact is basically saying that we share responsibility for high student achievement. And it also addresses the importance of communication between the school and the families. And it also describes school and student and the parents' responsibilities as well. The school, parent, and family compact is also listed directly on our website and is also always in the school-wide newsletter right under that focus on federal program section. The compact was also reviewed at the beginning of the school year, and we looked at it during the fall town hall. But in preparation for next school year, we're asking you guys to take another look at the compact, and then you can shoot me an email at that address right there listed on the screen. With any suggestions that you have for improving the compact, or if there's anything that you guys would like to see added to the compact, we would really appreciate the feedback to prepare for next school year. Now, Title I is very specific in addressing parent and family rights. So parents and families have the right to ask for meetings and trainings. You guys have the right to review our achievement data, review and modify the Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy and the Schools Compact, review the parent involvement plan within the comprehensive plan, and you also have the right to review the results of our annual Parent and Family Engagement Survey. So I just went over everything we used our title funding for this school year, but we are about to apply for funding for the upcoming school year, and we really need you guys' input. We are planning to receive, well, we're hoping to receive the same grants for about the same amount of funding, and if something changes, we'll just reconvene and figure out what changes need to be made to each program. So with that in mind, we want to know what you think we should use our parent and family engagement set aside for. What do you think our Title II, III, and IV funds should be used for? Like, what ideas do you guys have? And if you think those funds would be better used in a different category. So when you look at what Title I funds are used for, or Title II or Title IV funds are used for, you might realize that those funds could be put to better use in a different category under a different instruction, like a different way to allocate the funds. So that brings us to the annual parent and family needs assessment. We developed a needs assessment that will be sent out in the next few weeks, just to gather your responses for any changes that you would like to see to any of our title programs or any of our title activities. That's going to be your opportunity to give direct feedback about our programs and to give your opinion on how you want to see the programs run for next school year. This will really be helpful for us when we're submitting our proposal for next year's funding. This way, the program can be directly built with all of our stakeholders in mind. This needs assessment will be a great way for your voice to be heard, for your input to be made, and then there would be a difference in the programming for next year as long as it aligns with the way the funds can be allocated. With that being said, are there any immediate questions or comments for me? Sarah, I'm not able to see the chat the way my screen's set up. So if you see anything, can you just let me know so I can answer it really quickly for you guys?
I don't see anything in the chat, but could you just take one quick minute? This week's school-wide newsletter does include a link to a survey. It is a different survey than um, the needs assessment that Jaleesa mentioned. So could you just very briefly talk about the importance of this other one that they're going to receive this week?
Yeah, the one that they're going to receive this week is I believe it's the communication survey, which is just pretty much asking you guys how you would like for us to communicate with you, what times of the day or evening, what times you guys would like to see certain events happen, what's some better forms of communication. Like some people can't take phone calls during the day, so maybe they just would like a text message, or maybe they can't receive text messages, so a phone call, So it's just pretty much asking the different ways that parents would like for us to communicate with them regarding their students.
Thank you for that. So that link for that survey will be in this week's school-wide newsletter. The needs assessment will go out in a few weeks.
Yep.
Both of those include opportunities to win fun items from our school store for your participation in those.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. And then if there's any other questions, if there's anything that comes up about anything I discussed today, please feel free to contact either myself or Miss Johanna Best at either one of the emails listed on the screen if anything comes up. But other than that, thank you, Sarah. I am done.
Sarah, did we happen to share the if there are any questions about the testing piece? Did we share the email in which those questions?
We didn't put it in the chat, but it is in the slides that Danielle linked, and it will be in Thursday's newsletter as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I can add it to the chat too.
Thanks, Danielle.
I have one final slide to share. So on behalf of our community engagement coordinators, I just wanted to shout out that they are busy planning some really exciting events for the end of the year. Our end of year events are really meant just to bring people together and celebrate all the hard work that everyone has done this year. So please keep an eye out for information about these events in Parent Square. Some have already filled up, but we have more coming. So this is just a few of the ones that we have coming up in Cumberland County. Carlisle Sports Emporium, in Erie County, Splash Lagoon, Lancaster County, Round One Bowling and Arcade Park, Lycoming County, Hiawatha Paddle Wheel Riverboat, which includes an ice cream social, Monroe County, Aquatopia, like Splash Lagoon, that's an indoor water park, and then a Washington Wild Things minor league baseball game out in Washington County in the western part of the state. So we do not have a town hall meeting scheduled for the month of May. We're looking over the things that we've going on. If it looks like we have information that we want to share in this format, we will schedule something. But if not, we will share it in the other ways that we have through Parent Square and through our newsletters. I'm going to put the link for the sign-in form in the chat one more time. Again, we ask all participants, whether parent, guardian, or staff, to complete that form. And for parents and guardians, we do use your submission for that form to pick winners for our school store. We are a little early, so we're going to give everyone back some time in their evening. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your week.
Bye, everyone.